So the incentive structure was Red Bull.
Yeah, and chicken.
The kids today are getting Hermes bags and all this
It's
kind
very different. Yeah. If I turn up with a bargain bucket in my office, they kill me now.
I saw something crazy. Brokers standing up and they were doing these like call outs to their contacts or whatever.
Yeah.
You said something about the last man standing. What is that all about?
2 times a week, we run call out. We'll pick an hour.
Yeah.
We'll put an incentive up. We'll pick either a hot unit or we'll pick something to call out. Once you get one viewing booked, you can sit down. You can win the incentive.
What do you think that future of marketing looks like in terms of partnerships and like how you kind of imprint your brand on society?
We're looking at it to make every single agent an inbound agent. In the next 5 years, I'd like to think that every single broker that works with us has people coming to them. The first big deal I ever did is from a family, and they are the best people I've ever met in my life. They're on a very different level, right, in terms of wealth. Unbelievable. But in the first 6 months working with them, I learned more than I did in 10 years.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Real Ones. Today, I'm joined by Gino Cross, managing partner at Strada. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
I'm super excited to have you here.
Me
It's
too.
been a minute in the working. I mean, we met last week, and then you showed me around what can only be described as something out of Wall Street, probably, right? I was so, I would say, impressed by what I saw, because I've been to a few brokerages, I've visited a bunch, and I have to say that culture was super unique, and we'll talk about it in a sec, but how are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, I'm very good. I'm glad you like the office. It is one of a kind, isn't it? It's
Oh, yeah.
it's a bit crazy, but yeah.
Is there, what playlist have you got going on there? That's what
I
want
actually,
to know.
they won't let me involved in the playlist because I like 80s soul classics.
Are you a
and
Sinatra
so
guy?
it's just the same. Well, it's that sort of, there's a certain genre that I'll play over and over and over and everyone gets the ump. So
Yeah.
Nath controls the
What's the crowd favorite? What's yours?
iPad. In terms of genre or in terms of song?
Artists, probably.
Oh, I have no idea. Oh, I don't know.
It's just jazz.
Yeah, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of 80s,
Yeah.
And then, or they'll have house music blaring at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Now that's like, it's like you're in a Barry's boot camp, but at the same time you're
It's good,
selling
right?
real estate.
It creates the atmosphere.
Yeah, gives you that energy, adrenaline. So, okay, we always have very cool folks from real estate on this podcast. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. But at the same time, I wanted to make sure that I get to know your journey from well before, right?
Okay.
What did 7-year-old Gino want to become?
It certainly wasn't a real estate broker, I can tell you that. I wanted to play football. I wanted to be a golfer. It was sports related. It was nothing to do with sales. I was actually born in Oman, in Muscat.
No way.
Yeah. So
I did not know that about
Didn't you know?
No.
yeah, so I've got 2 brothers, and me and my middle brother were born in Oman.
Okay.
Lived there for 4 or 5 years, and then moved back to the UK. So I feel like growing up, I loved the Middle East. I had this connection with the Middle East, so that was why I came back.
Yeah, and what do you feel like you've learned about Middle East culture growing up here? Because that's very different
Do you
from
know what the
moving
problem
here.
is? I was so young. I don't remember a huge amount of it. You know, I remember little bits and bobs, but not a huge. And Oman's very, very different to
Of
Dubai,
course.
right?
Do you have any of the Sohar chips or not?
Yes.
That?
Yeah.
There we go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, growing up here is, I mean, like I did as well, and the how you say, the kofaki chips or something like that. That in the paratha is like, yeah. I think we should order some. But okay, so obviously had that start and moved back to the UK.
Yeah.
How do you end up in Dubai real estate, and not just end up, I guess, to a large extent, dominating a lot of it as well?
Well, so left school, I was never a big school person. Left school, had no real intention of going to university. I wanted to make money. What was the first thing I did when I left school? I went and worked for a magazine, cold calling, right? So when you're in school, you do work experience, don't you?
Yeah.
My dad was working. Do you remember 118? I don't know if you remember. It was the call centre with the guys with the moustache. Anyway, my dad was working there and said to me, "Look, you can come do work experience with us." So when I went, it was my first ever insight into sales. I went in and sat with one of the guys. I was there for 2 weeks. The first week was sat with someone who wasn't performing, right? And I remember sitting with this guy thinking, this is the worst job in the whole world. You're calling all random people. No one wants to talk to you. you're not really making any money. You're just this is just the worst thing in the whole world. And then week number 2, I coincidentally got sat with a top performer.
Okay.
And the difference in and I'm like, so you don't actually have to work any harder. You're just good at what you do and you make more money, right? And he's like, yeah, that's it. So then obviously the concept of commission, I was like, I really like the concept. That's a bit of me. I think I quite like to do that. So that was sort of my first taste. I think I made a sale, but just sat with them. It's just calling out.
How much does the magazine sell for?
No, so that the 118 was a directory and inquiry. So
okay,
we were calling out to businesses. Like I said, it was only for 2 weeks. Calling out to try and pitch them advertising space on the website.
Gotcha.
Going back like 15 years or whatever. So it was a long time ago.
Right.
But then when I left school, so that was my first sort of intake into it. And I was like, I quite like this.
Sales. Let's go.
Yeah. Then went in and worked for a magazine, just cold calling, selling advertising. Again, very, very basic, very early stages. There was an office above like a Tesco's.
Okay.
The weirdest office in the whole world.
So the meal deals were downstairs.
Yeah, literally, right? Yeah. So that was that, and then moved into a double glazing company.
Okay.
So I was going around selling windows, knocking on doors, door knocking. My dad said to me, "Go and do. You like sales? You've got to understand every aspect of sales." And to do that, I'd done the cold calling. I didn't really like it, so I said, "Oh, well, I'm going to do something else." Mm-hmm. Went and worked for a double glazing firm.
Gotcha.
So I had to turn up every single Monday morning, and they would give a bargain bucket and a can of Red Bull as their sales thing. They'd have a big map on the wall. And they said, right, this team's going out to here, this team's going out here, this team's going out. You get in the car, you drive down, and you drive around, and you'd find the houses with aluminium windows. Park up, and then walk down and knock the doors.
Wow.
So that it sounds mental now, but that was, again, I was in a really good team. So I learned really, really quickly that it was a commission-only job. But these guys are making quite a lot of money at the time, and they're working hard, but they're not doing overtime and things like this. They're earning a lot of money, so they can control their income,
right?
By being good at what they're doing.
So the incentive structure was Red Bull.
Yeah, and chicken.
Red Bull and
morning.
chicken. And the kids today are getting Hermes bags and all this.
It's very different. Yeah. If I turn up with a bargain bucket in my office, they kill me now.
Yeah. Like KFC for make it happen.
Yeah, literally. So it was a crazy time. Did that for a couple of years. Got quite good at it. Made money, and then moved into a finance company.
Okay.
More of a proper job.
Okay.
Salaried and that. Did that for 10 years.
Yep.
And I was working. I was doing like account management. So I was managing small businesses, helping them sell their spare capacity.
Okay.
And what it did, it opened my eyes up to running a business. I was looking at some of these people thinking, how are you making money? You don't know anything. How are you making money? And it wasn't just sales. It was, you don't know anything about your business. Your business isn't particularly good. It's either really old or whatever it was that was making money. And then some of them, I go, you're such a lovely person. Why are you not making money?
Yeah.
So it opened my eyes up to say, like, I want to own my own business. I want to run my own business. Tried a couple of times. Tried to set up a t-shirt company. Failed miserably.
Why? Why did it fail?
Just because I didn't understand the concept of a business. I didn't understand that you have a pot and you can use that pot to then invest in something where you're going to make money, get a return, and that has to go back in the pot. Yep. I would go and buy a load of t-shirts, sell them all, make £2,000. Then I've got £2,000, go buy a couple of pairs of trainers. So I had no idea on the concept of how business worked. Then we tried to set up a small advertising flyer, which got off the ground a little bit and then didn't work.
Okay.
So I knew that it was there, but just didn't quite know how to do it.
What kind of support do you get from like family and things like that when you're doing these businesses that, let's say, don't initially work out, or it's kind of like he's got it, but it's not this one. He'll do something else.
Do you know what? I'm from quite an entrepreneurial family. Where, and they're really, really supportive. We're really, really lucky. They're like, go again. It will be all right. Okay, that didn't work. Try that. Try this. Try that.
No.
Just be the best. Whatever you're gonna do, just be number one. Be the best, and you'll be fine.
No. So whether it's window glazing or whether it's t-shirts or real estate, just be number one, right? Let's talk about being number one, right? Obviously, you've been in Dubai real estate for a while. I believe you had your own firm doing more off-plan things initially, and then moved into this with two partners at Strada. So how do you pick the right partners, and how do you pick the right co-founders?
You know the craziest thing? So there's three of us. There's me, there's Che, there's Gary. So I moved to Dubai. I lived in the marina in the Point. Me and my wife lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. Me and her. Next door was another couple. And then the guy whose apartment it was put up one of those walls in the living room and half the living room overnight and then rented the room out.
Okay.
Right? So we moved into this and I remember thinking, the view was amazing, thinking, can't be doing this. It was all a bit crazy.
No. So
we put an ad out, said, right, we had to find someone else to fill the room to then leave. And put an ad out on Facebook, and Che responded to it and ended up taking the room over.
No
so
way.
7 or 8, whatever it was, years ago, he responded. I remember meeting him going, yeah, there you go, move into there. And then he texted me a month later going, what have I moved into? He went straight into real estate. I was about 3 months, couldn't get a job.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then, that was it. We'd always kept in contact.
How do you, okay, this is totally a tangent to what we're talking about. I know a lot of people that have graduated out of university or did not go to university, and they're looking for jobs in a market where all of the entry-level jobs are getting eaten up by AI and all these other things. How do you make yourself hireable or employable in this sort of economy that we have today?
In real estate, or how did I do it?
How did you do it?
I was coming from, it's actually not my confidence a lot. So I'd been number one in the world in the finance company that I was in. It was a global company.
Yeah.
And used to win awards and travel all around the world. And, I did quite well there. Came over here and would sit interviews in tech companies. I worked in tech for a little bit as well before I came over for about a year. So I was tech companies, finance, all these sort of firms. And they'd sit me and go, you're perfect, but you've got no UAE experience. I'm thinking, how am I going to get UAE experience if no one's going to give me a chance?
Yeah.
So in answer to your question, I mean, I think your work ethic is the main thing. What I look for now, whenever I sit with someone, I'm not that fussed on if you've got a degree and what your qualifications are. I don't really care about that. It's all about you as a person, how relentless you are, how willing you are to work, how much you want to learn. If you go on my YouTube at home, the history is all still now real estate, sales. Do you know what I mean? You never stop learning. So I think that is a key factor.
Who are one of those big role models for you in sales, real estate?
Patrick Bet-David, my absolute hero.
Okay. What's it about? What's he all about?
He is an Iranian American. He sort of similar industry. He sold a business that was in insurance. Yeah. Similar concept to what we're running in real estate. Sold it for, I don't know, $200-300 million. Just adds so much value. He's got a few YouTube channels, so I watch a lot of that. But adds so much value, and it shows, what his view on how to build a business is completely different to most others.
Right. And how do you think he kind of sets it apart?
I think from education, from reading, from learning, from understanding. And
that's big, right?
massive.
A lot of folks just think that reading is this thing that you don't need to do after you finish schooling or high school or whatever it is. But actually, I feel like it helps you jump years if you can condense and understand sort of one book. And it's again from someone like Patrick or something like that who's done this 10 times over. And you're just kind of doing the things that they would have done over decades, but you're condensing that information, consuming it in about 2 weeks.
And isn't it weird when you're in school and you're told to read a science book and you think, I don't want to read that.
Yeah.
But then you're going to go and read a book on psychology and you go, I really enjoy that. It's because it's going to benefit you.
I think that's what put me off of reading. As a kid growing up, it's just horrible.
I would refuse to read in school, and now I enjoy reading. I like it.
100%. Now I'm reading Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell.
Okay, nice.
It was just talking about how the odds of people succeeding are actually not that coincidental. It's that they had the right opportunities around them and that they had these unfair advantages that they were just able to use. They talk about Bill Gates and how he had access to a computer lab in some university that other people didn't have access to about 5 years or 10 years before everybody else got it. So of course he's going to be better at it than everyone else, right? So it's not chance or it's not just hustle and grit, but there's certain other factors that sort of come into it. And also books on longevity and these kind of things, right? So you've got a Whoop on. I imagine you care about all this stuff as well.
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah. I've just had... we've just had our second child, so I hate the Whoop at the moment because it's telling me, thank you, it's telling me how much I'm not sleeping. Yeah. But I do. It's actually over the last, I've had it 18 months.
Yep.
Amazing bit of kit.
Wow. So
do, right?
do you feel like being a father changes your view on how you train your real estate agents?
Do you know what it does? It softens you a little bit.
Okay.
Before I had kids, I was a lot more ruthless. Now, yeah,
Yeah.
it pulls on your heartstrings a little
Poor
bit more.
guy. He
Yeah,
just got here.
yeah.
Give him a chance.
Exactly.
So talk to me a little bit more about Strada. What do you guys do? Why are you different? What do you focus on, etc.?
So when the business was set up, it was set up with the vision to focus on marketing and brand. Feel like in Dubai, you know, like we were talking about the UK earlier on, right?
Yeah.
And the UK, you've got your big old school names that have been around for hundreds of years, and they have a lot of value. Yeah, so you go to that firm because they're that firm.
Yep.
Whereas here, there is a couple, obviously, but it's not as people don't care that much, you know. So I can tell you I'm from this, that doesn't. I don't really care. I just want the property.
Yep.
And what our vision was to actually build that. So they go, as a buyer, as a seller, as a broker, I'm proud to be associated with this brand. I'm proud, you know. I want to wear my Strada hat. I want to list with your company. Of course I do, because I've seen your marketing. So that was the sort of vision behind what we were going to do differently. We didn't focus just on brokers. We focused on building a really strong marketing department as well. So we've got, in my opinion, the best marketing team in the city. In
I think I'd be a close agree on that. Like, you know, I do know that there's a lot of good marketing teams, but your approach is so different because you seem to be comfortable giving every agent a voice of their own, which other people feel quite insecure about, because they're like, what if they leave? And then, like, you know, what? So how do you kind of overcome that insecurity?
Well, again, three of us that set it up have all been brokers, right? So when we sat down, we worked out, what do we want? What would I want if I was a broker? If you're going to leave, you're going to leave. I can't stop that, right? And if you're going to leave for more money, you were never right for us anyway. Our thing is branding. So what our idea is we'll give you a voice of your own, and we're going to give you the environment and the platform that's so good that I'd like to think you're not going to leave.
Gotcha.
You know, obviously people will leave. We can't stop that. But I feel like we've got a very very small, we've got a very high retention rate.
Yeah.
People come and they stay, you know. What we offer is very competitive in the market. And
we spoke about this the last time I think we met, about how you don't want it to grow beyond a certain scale, and you actually don't care about having 1,000 brokers, but you care more about the deal volume per broker kind of a thing. Talk to me about that. You know, in our industry, I've talked about it so many times. In our industry, the entry level is so low that anyone can become a real estate broker, right? The market's so good at the moment that anyone can come and do it and make a pound note. And there's no skill in it. It's more luck and it's more falling in. So you've got people from all different types of industries that are qualified up to their eyeballs going, I'm going to go and do real estate. Well, because my mate's there and he's made 500 grand a month. Well, you go, okay, maybe, but that doesn't last, right? So, you know, over the next 10, 15 years, the market will go through cycles. We know that we've been through them and the strong survive. So our theory is we're going to build you up. We don't need, or we don't want 500, 600, 700 agents. We want to keep that boutique feel. And what we're going to do is give you the one-to-one training to make you better than everyone else. It's kind of like the Oxford of, you know, real estate agency. Because they have the similar principle where it's just like, you want to make sure you have one or two students for every one trainer. Or do they? Yeah, they do. Because most other Russell Group or whatever universities in the UK, they basically have this one-to-many kind of structure, whereas Oxford kids or Cambridge kids have that extra advantage of that proximity, because in school, I don't know if you've had this, but if you have a shitty math teacher, you're not going to listen to what they're saying. But if you have a teacher that you can actually build a relationship with, they like you, then you're probably going to listen to it. 100%. Yeah. So I think it's kind of a similar principle in the sense that, like, you know, keep it small. And it's very difficult, right? I mean, I have so much respect for the firms that have loads and loads and loads of agents. You're building a massive hierarchy then, right? You've got lots of managers, team leaders, directors, whatever. That's amazing, but that's going into that corporate world. And financially, it's wonderful. But what we feel the sweet spot is having a certain amount of brokers where they still have access to us as our owners, or, you know, that we're still accessible, that we can still do training, we can still help with deals and things like that. I like getting involved in the deals, you know. And I feel like all three of us have got our own strengths and weaknesses, but we complement each other quite well. Gotcha. So, you know, talking about that marketing piece, right? Is it true that Strada is opening a coffee shop? We've got a coffee area in the office called Cappuccinos. Great coffee, by the way.
you've had one.
Amazing coffee.
Which started out as a joke and then ended up with my face on it. We've toyed with the idea. There's nothing. We're toying with maybe.
Yeah. So what do you think that, like, you know, because you said you're a marketing tech sort of company that does real estate as opposed to just kind of another real estate brokerage. What do you think that future of marketing looks like in terms of partnerships and like how you kind of imprint your brand on society? Because like you said, it's not just about picking up the phone and like, you know, getting a deal done and that's it. It's kind of like a long-term brand building exercise, right? Yeah. So how are you looking at that and the future of those kind of...
We're looking at it to make every single agent an inbound agent. Yeah. What I mean by that is, you know, in the next 5 years, I'd like to think that every single broker that works with us has people coming to them. We now are, all three of us are in a position because we built a reputation, a network, a social media following, whatever. Yeah. But then we now have people phoning us to buy, to sell, which we then hand out to whoever. Yeah. So we're focusing heavily on giving value. As directors, we're trying to give training that we wanted, that I wanted at the time. Obviously, we moved slightly with the times, but what would I want if I was new to real estate? How would I want to learn? And what are the real key things that I need to know to close deals? Gotcha. So we're doing that. What else are we doing? The marketing team, to be honest, we've got people and their sole jobs are just to research what's trending, what's up and coming. That's all they're doing all day. So we've got like groups where there's ideas being thrown in every day. Who wants to do this? I'll do that. Who wants to do this? Yeah, I'll do that.
Gotcha.
So it's forever growing and it's always getting better.
Yeah, and I think the team is very receptive to that culture as well. They want to do those things. It's not just like you're forcing them. They actually want to be in front of the camera, etc. Yeah. And I think that's going to become increasingly important for every real estate broker.
100%.
Yeah.
It builds value as well. I know, again, I've said it before, but like I found with the small little following that I built over the last couple of years, you turn up somewhere and you've got credibility. It's such a strange feeling. Whereas before you're ringing out and then you have to justify your company, you're justifying who you are, you're justifying whatever. But once you've done it, people get an idea. It's like, not everyone, obviously.
You're just like Gino Cross, 007.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, I have my house. It's for sale. Yeah. But no, you're turning up somewhere and people recognize you or they feel like you're credible. So it helps so much. Yeah. You know, if you're saying the right things. Yeah,
I feel like I walked into your office and like I was like, oh, that dude, like this guy, what's his name? Arabian Ranches.
Aidan Doyle.
That's the one. Yeah, I was just like, shit, this guy's jacked. Like, you know, he's massive. Yeah. But like, you know, you've seen their content before, so it's like very, very interesting to see that. So, okay, we've covered like a little bit of the marketing part. Let's talk about the sales part. Yeah. Because I saw something crazy, right? I saw brokers standing up, and they were doing these like call outs to their contacts or whatever, right? And you said something about the last man standing, last woman standing. Talk to me about all of that. What is that all about? So this is
Nathan's, it's genius, in fact. So what we do, I think 2 times a week, we run call outs, okay? So anyone that's inquired into the database, into the CRM, or any old owners or whatever, we've got it all in a CRM. And what we'll do 2 times a week is we'll pick an hour, we'll put an incentive up, we'll put then... I'm giving away all the secrets here. And then, put an incentive up and then... we'll pick either a hot unit or pick something to call out on, right? Put that incentive up. And then you say, right, once you've hit that, so let's say we're selling a unit, it's distressed. You've got 4 people that want to view it. Okay, we go, you can sit down. Once you get 1 viewing booked, you can sit down. Wow. But if you stand up and you keep going, it gets to the end of the hour and you're still standing, you then get, it's a point system. The more points you get, the more rolls of the dice you get. The more points you get on the dice, you can win the incentive. How important do you think these trade secrets actually are? Because obviously you've got a unique style at Strada and everyone talks to everyone. So everyone knows everything. How important are those trade secrets? Yeah, really important. I think that, like I said earlier, that we're really, really lucky that there's 3 of us, you know, and we are 3 completely different people. We have our strengths, sales, marketing, operations, and we come together. So what we find is when one of us has got a crazy idea, the other 2 go, it's a bit crazy that, just hold on. And then, you know, you get outvoted or they go, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. So you always know you're sort of on the line, but whatever you're deciding to do, as long as there's 2 of you saying, yeah, we're good to go. So that, you know, and then you're finding I've got secrets that I'm trying to give to people. Gary's got things that he's going, oh, this really worked for me. I go, wow, I've never heard of that before. Jay's the same. So I feel like the fact that we're all so different, we've got different things to offer.
Yeah.
Give.
And I'm forced to ask this by the Instagram algorithm gods. What are your top predictions for 2024 real estate? Yeah.
What are my predictions? I think it will continue to go up, but I don't think it will spike as it has. Right, we're going to go up in single figure digits now. Yeah. I think that I've got a lot of clients that are coming from the UK, and this is the same conversation over and over. Or not necessarily me anymore, but there's a lot of people who we're working with at the moment that are from the UK, from Australia, from all over the world, and they're leaving. Because it's so difficult to make money, because it's so difficult to do what they were doing before. So the more people that are coming here, the more the market's going to go up, right? Because there's not enough houses for those people, the way it's growing.
Who's been your most interesting client?
What do you mean by interesting?
Anything.
I'm lucky enough. So my the first big deal I ever did is from a family, a Bangladeshi family, and they are the best people I've ever met in my life. They're just the most wonderful people, incredibly wealthy. They're wonderful people. Yeah. And I worked with one, and then he introduced me to other people just to see an insight into their world. They're on a very different level, right, in terms of wealth. Yeah. The watches they wear, the cars they drive, the way they travel, the way they think, the way they set businesses up. Yeah. Unbelievable. I learn more in... I've worked with them for a long time now, but in the first 6 months working with them, I learned more than I did in 10 years.
Wow.
Just because their mindset's so different, they look at money differently. Yeah. I was brought up, again, I've talked about this before, I was brought up to say you earn this, you have savings, spending, and then whatever else. Yeah. They're not, they look at it that money's not theirs. Yeah, money's just a tool. So you have $1 million, it goes out, it comes back at 2 million, and 2 million goes out. You liquidate that to go in there. So you don't have this little saving. Maybe you have a bit of a savings account, but you don't have this sort of safety pot that you just grow up and then you get to 80 and die and hand it down. It's completely different.
So I've recently been having this conversation with my dad recently, because he's just like, you don't save enough money, bro. And I'm just like, I know, but at the same time, I've got the small pot that you're talking about. But I invest a lot in relationships. Okay, we've got like Eid break coming up right now. And I've decided that the whole market's just going to be sleeping, basically. So let me fly to another market and make new friends there, right? And film episodes there. Because every minute, like everything that you do, that output counts. But when you spend your own money on flight tickets, etc., to go to another place, let's say we're filming with Daniel Daggers and Jessica Bishop, all these kind of cool guys. And it's awesome, but it takes a toll on your account, and you're over investing almost. You're over indexing on the future likelihood of business, or just like it's kind of like relational capital that you're putting in, and then at some point, like maybe it's valuable or not, but you're over indexing on that.
100%. Yeah, 100%. For me, it's not so much that, but for me, it's now real estate, and it's stocks, shares, bonds. It's having an amount and saying, right, as opposed to going and buying watches and cars and whatever else I wanted to buy when I was younger, now it's how can I turn that into that, and what can I do with that, and it's actually fun doing it. So investing's key, right?
Oh, you want to talk about this portfolio? Let's talk about this portfolio.
What portfolio?
What is the split? Let's talk about the split. What are we doing?
I'm a real estate guy, so it's a bad split.
Okay.
Yeah, then there's 90% real estate, and then the rest is stock, shares, and Let's not give any insider tips. I'll ask you for it. Well, don't ask me anything about the stock market, because I've got a very bad track record with the stock market. I lost a lot of money in the stock market. Yeah,
I heard you lost a lot of money in crypto as well.
A lot of money in crypto, a lot of money in the stock market. Because it's the unknown, right? I'm very impulsive. I am, and I'll take a risk. So I don't mind losing, because I know I'll win again. Yeah. I lost, didn't win. I thought, actually,
that's the mindset. This is not for me. It's just in the mindset, guys.
But real estate, we know, right? We're in and out all the time, so we understand it. So, buying and selling quite a lot.
Awesome. So I'm going to hop on to my final 2 questions for you. First one being, what's your favorite quote about entrepreneurship? I know you've got some Patrick in there, but at the same time, is there something that stands out to you?
Well, I've said this before. One quote that sticks with me that is quite a recent is be where your feet are, not where your head is. right? And it resonated with me because running a business, I imagine you find the same. Although you're not in the office 12 hours a day, your mind is in the office 12 hours a day. You go to bed and you're thinking, she's doing this, she's doing that. Is he okay? Is she okay? Is this happening? Is that happening? Is that right? You wake up, the first thing you do is check your emails, your WhatsApp. You go, oh my God, I've got to deal with that too. So it's non-stop, right? And having kids and family and whatever, I find that I'm at home and my wife will always tell me, "You're here, but you're not here. You're talking." It's
a common problem.
So, and this quote is, "Be where your feet are. Be where you are today. Don't worry about what's going on in your head for now. Be where you are and enjoy the moment." And it's such a thing that I've changed since hearing it. I go, so right, if you're playing with the kids, play with the kids, be there, enjoy it, and then go and do your work, or whatever it is.
Yeah. I think that's so important. Like it's very underrated, but very, very important. I find myself in that position all the time. We got these episodes going out, right? So I think we were at Jebel Jais, on top of the mountain, and I was with about 6-7 of my friends. All of us drove up the thing. It was awesome. And then we're there, and at the top we're at this coffee shop, and I'm just like, watch this episode of The Real Ones with Joel Allen, or hashtag real estate, hashtag Kendal AI. And I'm just like, what am I doing? Because all these folks have taken time out of their lives to spend time together with me and, me with them as well. And it's kind of just, what are you doing? Why aren't you valuing those things in life? Because you can make as much money as you want. But fulfillment, we know, it does not necessarily come from that alone. After you've fulfilled a certain amount, like your Maslow's, once you've got that basic amount of money, it's just like, the things in life that make you happy are your kids, like you said, the love that you experience in all the relationships that you have, friendships, joy, laughter, these kind of things. So I'm with you on the being present part. So my last question to you is, what advice would you give your 21-year-old self?
Work harder.
You're kidding.
Because 21 years old, I was a bit of a party boy, spiky hair, diamond earrings, thought I could take
No way.
Yeah,
we could have a clip
thought
out,
I could take over the world. I laugh back at my father-in-law all the time. I think, what were you thinking when I walked through your door? But work harder. I worked hard, and then I'd play really hard, and work hard, play hard. Knowing what I know now, I would go back and go, you've got 10 years, graft. Put your head down, graft. Don't worry about going out, boozing and whatever else. Put your head down and graft. So, that would be the biggest thing. Just get your head down.
Some of the most successful people I've met are extremely critical of themselves.
Yes.
Extremely critical. And their biggest critique, probably, like they're just saying, I could have done better. Right. Whereas the folks that have just got their sights set on the one next step, they're like, I made this much this year. I got promoted to senior partner, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't.
Standards, isn't it? We always say one thing about our business that I think is exceptional is our standards. Yeah. We have such high standards. And I think as individuals throughout our lives, before we even knew each other, we'd always grown up with high standards. So we always expect more. We get to this and go, right, what's next? We get to it, right, how do we do this? We've done this, it's okay. Yeah, it's all right. And I think that's how you become elite, by being ultra critical. If you do see it and go, look what we've done. How clever we are.
Look at us
That's
now.
when you become complacent, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's when then you can get taken over. So I think it's really important to celebrate the wins and enjoy, but to be critical.
Well, Gino, this has been a pleasure. I don't think there's a better way to end this podcast. And thank you so much for taking the time to come out.
Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. So if you've enjoyed that episode of The Real Ones, drop that, subscribe and follow wherever you're looking at it. And, leave a comment and say hi to Gino. See you in the next one.